one that's making a comeback, and it might not be the one you're expecting. I really wanted to hop onto the trend of the better yellow. Technically, this is still red. Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde, I'm a French knitter, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, I would really appreciate if you did, and that way you can make sure that you don't miss any future content. But let's just get straight into this knitting podcast. I'm going to follow the usual podcast format. I'm going to talk about 1.5 finished objects, some whips, including one that's making a comeback and it might not be the one you're expecting, and one that is a new cast on you haven't seen before and it's got a lot of progress. But maybe first let's talk about what I'm wearing. I am wearing my Levitate wrap, which is a pattern by my favorite things Knitwear. This is a pattern that I knit at the end of 2023 in the recommended yarn. If you can hear my neighbors, I am sorry. They are making a lot of noise. It's a pattern that I knitted in the recommended yarn, which was Isager Eco Soft, or it was called Eco Soft then, I think it's called Soft Fine now, that I paired with their Trio 1. The names of the colors will be down below, and I've talked about the yarns before, but I do really like this pattern and this project. It's just I made it a little bit too cropped, so it's not the most easy to wear piece, and it's not the one that is the warmest, so I don't actually tend to wear it a ton during winter because it doesn't keep me warm enough. But I think for the spring and for the autumn it's perfect. So yeah, it's not my absolute favorite knit, but I do still really like it and wear it. And if you have any questions about it, I did make a vlog a while back now, I think I made a vlog. If I've made a vlog, I will link it up above. If not, I've talked about it in podcast before or in my Everything I Knit in 2023 video. Or you can leave me a comment down below and I will get back to you. But let's talk about the first finished object that I've got, and it is not blocked, but we're gonna pretend that it is because it's halfway blocked. So I've blocked the top half of it and one sleeve because it is my partner's zipper sweater light man. And so to do the zipper, it's best to block it before, as you guys have told me. So I do still have to block it. The camera is gonna go a little bit whack with the colors because this is so dark. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about it as if it's a completely finished object. Let me know if you guys want to see in the next podcast a clip of it blocked, and if you want to hear me talk a little bit about it afterwards. But because I've blocked the first half, I can already tell you that the yarn does soften up with blocking, and I'll go through all of the specs about this project as if it's completely finished. Before I talk about the pattern itself and I show you a bit more about it, let's talk about the yarn. I used the Rerum Natura's Gilliatt in the colorway Merlot, which is a really lovely 100% wool yarn. I wouldn't say it's rustic, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily soft either when you first knit with it. However, it does soften up with blocking. It's not going to be like baby soft, but it's definitely not itchy and it's very comfortable. My partner did tell me this is quite a heavy project, like when he wears it he can really feel it. I don't know if that was good or not. I'm hoping it's a good thing, but it is so lovely. Since last time, it's blowing out a little bit. Since last time I have knit, I think I had stopped the body somewhere around here, so I've knit the whole of the body and the ribbing, and then I think I had started the second sleeve and I now finished it, obviously. And I've also installed the zipper. So let me zip it up. I have a few things to say about the zipper. First of all, I have to fix one thing because I've messed up. But I mean, I think it looks pretty good except for the end here and this bit here, which isn't really well. I don't know what I did there, but otherwise I think it's great. I used the PetiteKnit zipper that she sells on her website in the brown colorway, and you can definitely see it. So I think there's a better way to do this where you wouldn't see the zipper, but this was my first time adding a zipper in a project, so I'm happy with how it's looking, and I think the color is close enough to the yarn that it's okay. But I think I could have definitely done a better job, especially when it comes to this. So I used a mohair from a previous project, which is Knitting for Leaf Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Bordeaux, to sew in the zipper. And at the end, you're basically supposed to cut the zipper and then add like a reinforcement to make sure that when you unzip it, it doesn't undo. And so that's what I did, but I did it just a little bit too high up than what I was supposed to. So when it's zipped up, you can really see that, but when it's, when it's not zipped up, it's a little bit hidden. So for now, it's going to be good enough. I will just fix the points where it unfolds. Not unfolds, but like where it's unraveling a little bit. But I think I'm going to leave this as is, especially since my partner has told me it doesn't bother him at all, but it does bother me. But I saw that after I completed weaving in all of the ends, so I don't really want to go back to it right now, but we'll see. Otherwise, I think it's a really, really great fit. I'll include some b-rolls of my partner wearing it, but I won't show you on me because it looks so big, it's completely ridiculous. So if I do end up wearing it and stealing this from him, it will just be for like when I stay at home and nobody is seeing me, because it's so big, it's completely ridiculous. Let's be honest. Let's talk about the specs of this project. So I cast it on the 31st of January of this year, and I finished it on the 26th of April, so that is 85 days. I didn't knit on it for the whole 85 days, but since it's a gift knit, it's something that I could grab and knit whenever I wanted to, but it wasn't my main priority. I'm pretty happy though with the amount of time I spent on it, and once you just knit in the round, I mean, it was a very pleasurable knit. I think as a gift knit, that's something that I'm definitely more inclined to do now, is some stockinette gift knits. Not right now, I'm taking a little bit of break from gift knitting, but I think if I were to gift knit something like a sweater again or a cardigan, I would maybe be more likely to choose a stockinette project. The total cost of the yarn was 93.49 euros, so I'll put on the screen what that is in dollars because I do not know that. I also bought the zipper, which was 36 Danish kroner, and that is 4.82 euros. And I'm not going to count the soft silk mohair because that was from a leftover project, so it's like leftover yarn. And I think that's about it. So I would make this project a bit less than 100 euros, so 98 euros, which I feel like for a men's sweater is a pretty good going. It is a bit expensive, but it's 100% wool and it's French yarn, and it's the yarn that my partner chose and wanted, so I'm really happy with the choice that we made. I do have a tiny bit left over, but I don't think I've got a full bowl because every bowl is 100 grams. I think I've got maybe 50 grams left. I'll have to check. But yeah, I'm really happy with this project. I'm really happy to be done with it. Unfortunately, it's now a bit too warm for my partner to wear it, so I'm not sure when he's going to be able to actually wear it. But hopefully in the fall and winter, he will be able to. Then let's move on to, I think that's all for the specs, but I feel like I'm forgetting something. But we'll just pretend that this is it. If you have any questions, you can let me know down below. The next half-finished project I have is, as you can probably guess, my first sock from the Maine Coast Summer Socks by Sameli Designs. So this is, I haven't blocked or woven in the ends yet, but this is how they're looking. I will put them on my hand so that you can hopefully see the cable better. These are knit using Filcolana Arwetta in the colorway Chinese Red, which I think is 218. It is 80% virgin wool and 20% nylon. This is a sock yarn that I love using. I've used it. Is this my second or third time? I think it's at least my second time using Filcolana Arwetta for socks, and I really like it. And I love this socks. I'm really looking forward to casting on the second one, but I think I'm going to hold off just a tiny bit because I do have a lot of whips and I don't really want to add another one, even though technically this is still a whip. We're just going to pretend that it's not. I'm really happy with the choice that I made because I decided to knit this on 2.5mm needles instead of the 3mm needles recommended in the pattern. Because of that, my gauge is usually tight, so I usually tend to go up in sizes, but because this is quite a light fingering weight yarn, as you can probably see, I didn't want to use needle size that are not recommended for this yarn weight and have a fabric that is too see-through, especially for socks. So I went down in size, but I then chose to knit the largest size in the pattern, which is the extra large. So I'm really happy with my choice because at least pre-blocking it fits perfectly. I'm hoping it doesn't change too much with blocking, even though I know the cables are going to relax, but obviously when I put them on my feet they already stretch a bit, so hopefully it will be fine. Hopefully. This is a pattern that has obviously a cable repeat you do at the cuff and like the top half of the leg, but then you only do it on the top half of the foot and not the bottom is just stuck in it. Obviously this does make this just a tiny bit more tedious than normal socks because I did have to keep track of the pattern repeats that I was on and everything, but I still really enjoyed it. I did make the cuff, or like the top half of the the leg, shorter than recommended in the pattern because I didn't want a sock that was too high up on my ankle. But yeah, I'm looking forward to casting on the second one, but that will not be right away. Next up we have my beautiful, another red project actually, my beautiful Agnete Cardigan by PetiteKnit. And I've not done that much progress on it since last time, to be honest. Well, you can't really see right now. Like this. So let's talk about the yarn in case you have not been here before. I am using Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Red Currant. This is 100% extra fine merino and the mohair is 70% certified mohair and 30% cruelty-free silk. And I will just say, I've mentioned it before, but the mohair does have a white strand running through it, so if that's not something you like, you should not use this yarn, or just this color, I mean, because I don't think it happens for every soft silk mohair by Knitting for Olive, but in this colorway it does, and you can probably tell that it does give a bit of a mild effect in the fabric. Since last time, I think what I did was join under the arms, and I've knit a little bit on the body. I have finished the first buttonhole and I'm just a bit below that now. A couple of things. I've talked about the construction of this one before, but basically you start with the neck edge in double knitting, then you pick up stitches underneath here to knit the back panel with increases for the shaping and the armholes at the bottom, and then you pick up each front and you knit the button band as you go, which is really lovely. It does help in a way with the body because I feel like the progress on the body is definitely more slow. I think there's two reasons for that. First of all, it's a brioche project. I think brioche is a little bit slower than, stockinette, obviously. And then also, I think because of the way brioche is created with yarn overs and everything, it means that I have to really pull when I have to put the stitches from the cable to the needle, I have to really pull on it, and so that does slow me down a lot. So I've put this aside for at least a week now, if not more. Not necessarily on purpose, but just because I was working on other things. I really wanted to finish the Zipper Sweater Light Man, which I did, and then another project, which we'll talk about in a moment. So it's been a little bit on the back burner for now. I'm hoping to have a little bit more progress over the next few weeks, but I don't think it's going to be my focus. So if you don't see it in the next podcast, it's just because maybe I've done a few rows, but not more than that. I will pick it back up later. But it's just, I always knew this was going to be a long-term project because it's brioche. I'm happy with the progress I've made so far. I think the buttonhole is going to be like the next buttonhole, is going to be my next goal to reach, and that kind of helps. I think this one has only got 3 buttons, maybe 4. I don't remember. So if it's just 3, I've already done 1 and I've just got 2, but I think it's 4 and I've still got 3 to go, which is a little bit long. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really happy with the fit, really happy with the project. If you've been here before, you know I've made a mistake in the double knitting. I've not fixed that yet, but I have taken into account all of your suggestions in the last podcast, and I will attempt to fix that with your suggestions whenever I pick it back up again. But yeah, it's just not been my priority, but I think that's okay. I feel like I'm talking really fast and I don't really know why. For the Agnete Cardigan, I am knitting the size medium, hoping to reach a size in between size small and medium because my gauge is a tiny bit off. I am knitting this on 3.5mm needles instead of 3mm needles. So I've gone up, but even though I've gone up in needle size, I'm still just a tiny bit off from the pattern gauge. But I didn't want to go up another needle size because I liked the fabric as it was with this size. Next up, let's talk about a project that had been cast on last year over the summer and that I put on hold because I had tendinitis, so I couldn't knit for a month and a half. And so when I got back into knitting, it was the end of the summer, and I just thought it wouldn't make sense to get back into knitting it because I wasn't close to finishing it, and so I wouldn't have had it ready before autumn, and I probably wouldn't have worn it right away. So I put it aside, but I'm really happy to get back into knitting it because I really, really loved working on this, and I'm really excited for the finished result. So I've picked back up the mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller. This is a lovely, lovely pattern. I've got so many ends to weave in. This is going to be a bit tough to show. I hope you don't mind. And it's going to look a bit weird actually, but hopefully that's okay. So this is a lovely camisole that features a mix of different ribbing, as you can probably tell. It's a mix of like half twisted rib and some stockinette panels. I am knitting this in Knitting for Live Cotton Merino in the colorway Thunder Cloud. This is 70% organic cotton and 30% extra fine merino, which I think is going to be perfect for the summer, or like, I don't know how it's going to wear when it's like 35 degrees outside, but we'll see. But I think for like mild to warm days, it's going to be great. I love how this pattern looks. I really love the boat neck, and there's waist shaping that's optional that I think I'm going to do, that I'm really excited to get into. But I have needed to use the recommended needle size, which is 3mm needles, because it's already a little bit see-through, as you can probably tell. This is the wrong side, but it's definitely just a tiny bit see-through already. So if I were to go up at even just half a needle size, then it would have been way too see-through, which isn't something you want in a summer top. So I stuck to the recommended needles, but I'm knitting a size up, which I think is a size 4 for me, for Florence Minnis patterns. And I'm hoping to still have the recommended ease. Obviously like last year I had almost finished the back panel with the increases, but I have now done that. So yeah, I've got my increases at the armhole, and then I picked up for each shoulder and knitted this small part, and then it's a bit hard to show because it curls up a bit because I don't have a ton, but I have picked up or like added all of the, I think they're done with backward loop stitches for the edge neck, and then I'm working on knitting up the front panel, which is gonna take a while because it's not my focus. It's on very tiny needles, and yeah, but I'm hoping to get working on it so that I can soon join in the round and just knit, even though I do still have also some waist shaping to do. So I'm excited to do that because I've never done waist shaping on a project before, so I'm excited to see how that looks. And hopefully I'm really into negative ease garments at the moment, even though that's not what you're seeing with the sweaters, but at least with the summer knits, that's what I like. And so I'm excited to see how this one looks. I'm hoping the sizing is correct because of my gauge and everything, and I'm hoping it looks good. But I'm really enjoying working on this project. The yarn is lovely to work with. This is my first time knitting with this yarn, and it's definitely just a little bit cottony, obviously, but it's still very nice to work with, I think. I do have all of those ends though to weave in at some point. Let me know how you guys weave in your ends, because that's something that I struggle with. I use the duplicate stitch method for the most part, except in like ribbing, but I feel like you can really tell when I do that. Let me try and show you an example. Can you see this bump here? Because the yarn is obviously a bit bulky, then you can really tell where I did that, and I don't know how to do anything better than that, because I don't really want to have to like splice the yarn to make it thinner and then weave in even more ends. That's one of the only methods that I know, and I really like to do it because it's very easy, it doesn't take too long, but it just shows a lot on my knitting, so I'm not a fan of that. So let me know what method you use, I would really appreciate it. Lastly, you may have seen it already in my last video, which was a knitting vlog, but I casted on the Solene Cardigan by PetiteKnit, and I've got a lot more progress than you might think on this one. I cast this on exactly a week ago because I wanted to film a video where I was knitting for 12 hours. I really wanted to see, because I feel like when you knit for like 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you don't see really your progress. I don't know how to explain that, but like you see your progress, but in a obviously more subtle way. I really wanted to see how much I could actually get done in a certain amount of hours. I chose 12 hours because it was a nice round number, but it could have been 6 or 10. And I think 6 would have been too small because that's usually what I get in the weekends anyway when I don't have anything planned. But 12 hours was actually a lot, and even though it feels like I got so much done, it actually makes sense for 12 hours of knitting. But then there was also the Monday that was a bank holiday, so I had a lot of time knitting on that day as well. And then during the week I just focused on this one. So I've got the whole yoke body done and one sleeve done, which is insane for a week of knitting. But first of all, I'm knitting the size smaller in the pattern, so obviously it's one of the smallest sizes. It doesn't have that many stitches as, larger sizes. I am also using 5.5mm needles instead of 4.5mm needles, so I'm going up quite a large number of needle size. And then it's stockinette. I mean, it is a cardigan, so I do have to go back and forth between knit stitches and purl stitches, but it's still fairly quick. And yeah, I mean, for the whole 12-hour day that I filmed, I knit the whole yoke and started on the body. And then during that Monday, I knit most of the rest of the body, but I finished it, I think, on the Tuesday. And then I just started knitting the sleeve. And that, you know, was a much more regular way of knitting. That was, you know, only in the evenings whilst I was at home. So it did took me 3 or 4 days to knit the sleeve compared to the body, which took me like 3 whole days, which is a little bit wild. But yeah, it's been actually really nice to have so much progress on a project. I've talked in previous podcasts not too long ago about knitting speed and how I've been feeling, and I especially felt like that, I think, because of the Agnete Cardigan, because it's quite a slower project being brioche, and then the zipper sweater lined man, whilst being a stockinette project, was for a man, so it was a much larger size than what I'm usually used to knitting, and knitting longer as well than I usually knit for myself. But so it's been lovely to knit quickly on this, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to, well, first of all, I'm looking forward to having this done, because even though it's been quick, it also feels like now if I spend 3 weeks finishing it, it's going to be a bit weird in a way. I'm not trying to explain that either. I don't think that today is a very good day for me to film, because I do not have a lot of my words, but hopefully you guys don't mind. But yeah, anyways, I'm really looking forward to wearing this because I love how it looks. If you've watched, I'll talk about the yarn afterwards. If you've watched the vlog, you may have noticed at the end that I was feeling a little bit, well, tired, first of all, but also I was feeling a little bit insecure about how it was looking. I was worried that it was just gonna have too much positives, and whilst I love having positives, over the last couple of projects that I've made for myself, I found that the positives that they had, whilst being very comfortable and lovely to wear, I don't think that the things that suit me the most. And so whilst I wanted to have the positives recommended in the pattern, I didn't want more than that because it's already 20 centimeters of positives. So when I finished the yoke and I tried it on, and it just looked very weird, also because you can probably tell, but the panels at the front edge before the body, they're quite small and they also curl inwards, and so it just looked very tiny here at the top part, and then it looked huge under my arms, and I was like, oh no, I don't think I love this. But now that I've knit a whole sleeve, so this side of the front isn't curling inwards, and I've started on the second sleeve as well, I love how it's looking. I absolutely adore how it's looking. I love how wide the sleeves are. They're quite big, even though they do have decreases, which I think you can probably see right now. But I love how they're looking. I'm actually also really loving the short ribbing that's at the bottom of the sleeve and the bottom of the body. And I'm excited to finish the second sleeve, and I'm even more so excited to do the front edge on the this is so hard to show, around the neck and down the body, because I think also it's still curling in a bit, and so when I do try it on, you can see that it could really easily fall off my shoulder. But I'm looking forward to see how it looks when it's done, and then to add the little ties. That's going to be so cute, and I think this is going to be such a perfect cardigan for spring that I'm really looking forward to it. Again, like I mentioned, and you can probably tell, this is how I've woven my ends, and you can really see that. So that's something that I do not love, and I don't know how to fix. So if you have any tips, I would really love it. Yeah, let's talk about the yarn and then I'll go back to the construction of it. I am using Gepard Guard Pure Lana, which is in the colorway 101, and it's 50% wool, 50% alpaca, and I'm pairing it with Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere in the colorway cream, so you can see they're a little bit different. This one is definitely more white and this one is a little bit more yellow. And the Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere is 100% cashmere. It's very soft, but it's a lace weight. And when I bought it, I initially wanted to use it for the Elizabeth blouse by PetiteKnit, but that one recommends a sport weight yarn, and so I didn't have enough for that. So I've got more than enough for this project, and then I think I already know what I will use the leftover for, because I think I'll have at least 3, if not 4 skeins left, which is quite a lot. But yeah, this wasn't my original plan to use these two together, because this makes this quite an expensive project, but it's very, very lovely. The pure lana is very, very soft, and then held with the cashmere on top makes it even softer. I do think I'm a little bit sensitive to the alpaca, contrary to mohair. I'm not sensitive to mohair at all. I do think the alpaca is a tiny bit itchy for me. We'll see when it's done and I actually wear it. I'll let you guys know. But it is so soft and it's amazing to work with. Like, it just slide off. Is that? No, glide off. What's the word? It just glides on my needles, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm looking forward, honestly, to finishing this video and going back to knitting on this, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, anyways, the construction of this, if you've not seen the vlog and you don't plan on watching it, I'll let you know about the construction of this. So you start off by knitting a small panel, which I'm not even sure now where exactly it is, but I think it's somewhere around here. I think it's the back, so probably from here where you can see my short rows until like you knit just this much basically, and you knit one for the left and one for the right, and then you join them together with backward loop stitches in the middle to form the back, and then you knit the back panel. This is so hard to show. Then you knit the back panel until you reach the armholes, and then you do some increases, which are looking very lovely. Once you finish the back panel, you pick up stitches, I think here, and maybe just a tiny bit below that, not sure. And then you shape the front panel for one side. You do the same thing for the other one, and once you've finished the increases for the armholes and the v-neck, you join in the round, but it's a cardigan, under the arms, and then you just knit the body stockinette style. And then you do have just a tiny bit of ribbing, and then for the sleeve you pick up stitches and you knit German short row shaping as well at the top of the sleeve until I think about here, and then you just knit with the creases. And that's it for this cardigan, and we'll talk about the rest of the construction when I get to those points. But I'm really excited about this project and wearing it, and hopefully I'll finish it quite soon. Even though the goal for this isn't to rush, I think it's going to be my focus for the next week, because I just really want to wear it, and it's getting warmer by the minute. Maybe not by the minute, it's getting warmer by the day, so I do have to hurry up if I want to get a few wears out of it. But anyway, let's talk about the one acquisition that I have this week, which was not planned. It was a little bit of an impulse purchase, but I do have a project in mind for it, and I want to cast this on pretty soon as well. Hopefully as soon as I finish the Solene cardigan, and I technically already had some yarn in stash for the project that I want to make, but I haven't been in love with the color that I chose when it came in the mail. I was a little bit disappointed. I thought it could still work, but I've decided to put that color aside for the moment, and I'll see if I sell it or if I end up using for something else. But for now, I really wanted to hop onto the trend of the butter yellow. So I have gotten myself a sweater quantity of Knitting for Olive heavy merino and soft silk mohair in the colorway Dusty Banana. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love it. I love these two yarn. I love Knitting for Olive. It's one of my favorite brands. I've worn several sweaters in this yarn combination or in the Merino and soft silk Mohair, and I think it's absolutely stunning. The heavy Merino is 100% Merino and is definitely a little bit more rustic than the Merino. It's definitely less soft, but I've loved a sweater that I have knitted this with, so I know I'm gonna love this. And yeah, I'm gonna leave you a couple of seconds to guess in the comments, if you've not watched my Instagram story, to guess which project I'm planning on knitting with this instead of the yarn that I have in stash. As a hint, this was a sweater that I had on my spring knitting plans, so write that down below. Okay, it is the Tulip Loop V-neck by Other Loops. I'm so excited to knit this sweater in this beautiful spring color. I think it's perfect for a tulip inspired knit. I think the cables are going to look gorgeous. I do have my swatch in the previous color that I wanted to knit this in, which was the exact same yarn, so I'm not going to swatch again, even though I'm really excited to see this color knitted. But yeah, I do have actually two swatches. So originally I had this color, which I think is the dark mustard and dark ochre, something like that combination, but it's just a little bit more golden than what I wanted. So I'm definitely, yeah, I'm liking this way more, even though I don't think it's gonna suit me that much. I don't really care, to be honest. And I have two swatches because I swatched with the recommended needle size, which is obviously way too small, and then I swatched with the just one size up, and I'm gonna go with that. So I think it's gonna be 5mm needles, but I'm gonna go up in size in pattern because this is still too small. I'm not reaching gauge, but if I go up another size, then it's too see-through and I don't like that. So I'm gonna go with this, but I'm gonna do a size 3, I think. So hopefully I can cast this on pretty soon, but I do have a test knit coming up, so we'll see which one I start first. But I would love to start the Tulip Loop V-neck because it's been on my spring knitting plans, and I'm just eager to get started on it. So I'm gonna also, I want to take part in the Butter Yellow Cal that is being run by Jessica and Rachel from Those Twins Who Knit and Liz and Paige from, I don't remember the name of their channel, but I will link it down below. If you haven't checked out their videos before, they're really good. I really enjoy them. And so I think I've been knit-fluenced to buy this color, but I think I'm gonna love it and I can't wait. So let me know which project you're currently working on, which one is bringing you the most joy. I hope you guys don't feel rushed to work on a project like I have for the Solene Cardigan. I just wanted to knit on this not quickly, but just a lot, and so that's why I've got so much progress on it, because I've basically knit on it for like at least 30 hours now. It feels like it's got a lot of progress done, and that's just because I've put a lot of hours into it, not because I'm being very quick. I think that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this little update. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!